Hi everyone, Grant K here for the Smoke Learning channel. In this video, I'm going to show you the workflow to stabilize an image, add elements for a composite, and return the original camera move by destabilizing the shot. You may have seen something similar using the 2D point stabilizer, but the auto stabilizer has a few more benefits and is more efficient in a lot of departments. If you would like to follow along, please click the link in the YouTube description to download the media. Alternatively, if you're watching the podcast version of this video, then type the link displayed in your internet browser. In this particular shot, I'd like to add a digital audio equalizer to the front of the coffee machine. Now, you might not do this every day, but this workflow would be the same approach for replacing screens in phones, tablets, and computers. The first thing to do is go to the ConnectFX node bin and drag out the Auto Stabilizer node. Connect it after the source node and double-click for its controls. Hover over the ConnectFX schematic and press F1 for the front view. You may want to fit this view to the window. Now, the Auto Stabilizer uses a point cloud to analyze the shot and apply stabilization. So you don't have to plot a tracking point like the 2D tracker. There are a few options to tweak the Auto Stabilizer, but ultimately it is an automated process. As a small tip, I always set my start range to 0 to ensure the first frame is included in the track. Otherwise, I get a small shift between the first and second frame of the shot. Now click Analyze. The point cloud scans the image looking for track points. If the Auto Stabilizer fails, it will stop and you can tweak some settings and try again. Once it is complete, you can have a look at the result view and scrub the time bar. You don't need to look at the front view again, so press Option Escape to go back to the ConnectFX schematic. What's very handy about the Auto Stabilizer is that you can toggle what properties to stabilize, and it's non-destructive. So you can experiment with the options to correctly stabilize the track. One thing you may not know about the Auto Stabilizer is that you can use it to smooth out bumpy camera movement. Just switch the options from fixed to smooth and adjust the smoothing value. In our case, we want to stabilize, so leave the option as fixed. Another thing to notice is that the track is referenced to frame 1. What this means is that frame 1 is in its original position and all the other frames are stabilized. As a result of this, the image slides to the left of the screen. It might be easier to work with the panel if the image started more on the right and moved over to the left. So scroll to the middle of the shot. Click the Set Frame button. Without having to redo the track, the Auto Stabilizer references this new frame and all the other pre- and post frames are stabilized. This helps focus on the area of the image we will work on. Now, the last thing to point out is that if you scrub the time bar, the image is being cropped on both edges of the screen. The 2D stabilizer has a roll function to repeat the edges of the frame not to lose any pixels. The problem with this method is that you can only stabilize position. However, with the Auto Stabilizer, you can stabilize position and rotation because you can enlarge the canvas to retain all the pixels without rolling the edges. So switch the canvas resolution to custom. Enlarge the canvas until all the pixels are retained throughout the entire length of the shot. Now let's take what we have and composite the element on top. Switch back to the ConnectFX node bin. Drag out an action node and connect the output of the Auto Stabilizer to the background. Now, if you don't have your media panel visible, press one left arrow to bring it up. Drag in the digital meter element. You could import this as a separate fill or alpha, or you could import this as a matte container with the comp option disabled. Hide the media panel again with the one left arrow keyboard shortcut. Select the action node and press Ctrl-N for a new media input. Connect the fill and the alpha of the element to the inputs of the media input node. Now double-click on the action for its controls and press Escape to switch to the action schematic. Now this background is a custom resolution, so switch to the node preferences. Click the resolution pop-up menu and choose the background resolution option. So Action has the correct settings, but don't forget to press apply to make the changes. Now return back to the Action menus. Now this background was stabilized in position and rotation, but I'm sure you noticed the perspective shift in the image. Because of this, we will do a 4-point track with our element to ensure it sticks 100% to the background. Double-click on the image object for its controls. In the Surface menu, switch the type from Flat to Bilinear. The corner vertices should appear. Now move the vertices into each corner of the front plate we are replacing. Make sure everything fits correctly, even though the vertices may not be on solid tracking points. Now hold Command and draw a box selection around all the points. Switch to the Vertices menu and enter into the stabilizer. These 4 tracker boxes correspond with the exact positioning of the vertices, so we don't want to move them. Instead, click the Tools pull-down menu and choose Offset Reference. Now go through each tracker box and position the offset reference on the highlights in each of the corners. Once you are happy with this, press the Analyze button to start the track. When the track is complete, scrub the time bar and you will see the perspective shift I was talking about. Now exit the stabilizer and the element should be correctly composited into the shot. The third and final part of this workflow is to destabilize the image. Hover over the action schematic and press Option Escape for the Connect Effects schematic. Switch to the Connect Effects node bin. Now all the tracking data is already in the first Auto-Stabilize node, so we can use this to bring back the camera movement. Select the Auto-Stabilize node and press Command-D to duplicate the node. Next, move it to the end of the flow graph and connect the action's output into the front input of the Auto-Stabilizer. Double-click on the node for its controls. So currently this image has double the stabilization as a result of the second Auto-Stabilizer node. Just click Negate Stabilization and all the data will be inverted. This reintroduces the camera move that we removed at the beginning. The only thing that is left is to set the custom size back to 1080 HD. That puts it back to its original size. Ensure the output of the Auto-Stabilize is connected into the CFX output node. Now exit Connect Effects and process the result. When we look at the render result, you can see that we now have a more modern futuristic coffee machine with built-in meters. To sum up, you can just track elements to a background. However, sometimes it's easier to stabilize, composite, and destabilize afterwards. Hopefully this is another great workflow in your back pocket. Comments, feedback, and suggestions are always welcome and appreciated. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to the Smoke Learning channel for future videos.